Despite President Trump repeatedly vowing to focus on deporting undocumented immigrants convicted of violent crimes, new data exclusively obtained by NBC News suggests that the administration is falling short of that goal. Internal data from ICE suggests that the Trump administration has detained only 6% of the undocumented immigrants known to ICE to have been convicted of homicide, and only 11% of those who have been convicted of sexual assault. A DHS official called the data inaccurate, but did not provide raw numbers by category when asked by NBC News. With us now, one of the co-authors of that exclusive report, NBC News senior Homeland Security correspondent Julia Ainsley. Julia, thank you so much. And I think it's a question that a lot of Americans that are looking at this, looking at some of these video clips when you have immigrants that are being detained, asking whether these young mothers of three or these pregnant women are the violent criminals that we heard were going to be detained. Even when you have like Joe Rogan repeatedly expressing his concern about it, you have a feeling that this probably cuts across party lines. So what percentage of those that have been detained to be deported actually are violent criminals? What have you all found out?
Well, of the 185,000 that have been arrested since October, so that included some of the Biden administration, only 65,000 of those have a criminal conviction. And, Joe, those aren't even very violent. The most common criminal convictions are immigration offenses that would be beyond crossing the border illegally. It could be reentry or overstay of a visa, and also traffic offenses. But what we found, Joe, is that if you are concerned about immigration and see this as a public safety, national security threat, these numbers show that the tactics being used by ICE aren't necessarily addressing that core problem. What we have here are two data sets that were able to show us a fuller picture. In late September, the Biden administration sent to Congress by request categories of the number of immigrants that they said were at large in the United States, and that included 400,000 immigrants with criminal convictions, as well as 13,000 of those who were convicted of homicide. This was shocking at the time. It's something Trump seized on the campaign trail. He really criticized Kamala Harris for not doing enough on immigration, particularly because of these numbers. And they said, we are going after the worst of the worst. Those will be the priorities. But then we were able to look at the data since that point came out all the way through May 31st, and we found that they only have arrested 752 of those 13,000 with homicide convictions. Now, we should say when they're at large, it means they're known to ICE. They could be serving time in a Bureau of Prisons facility. They may even be out of the country, but they have a pending asylum or immigration case before ICE. And so that's why they are still on the ICE docket. And so in this case, when you're looking at 13,000, only 752 of those have actually been booked into ICE custody. And the majority of those in ICE custody, over 120,000 out of 185,000 that have been booked in, had any kind of serious criminal charge or even pending criminal charge, Joe.
Well, and again, the key that what we heard time and again, the worst of the worst, the violent offenders. It wasn't those who ran red lights or were caught speeding 5 miles, over 5 miles an hour faster than speed limits. So based on your reporting, when did the Trump administration go from having as their goal getting the worst of the worst and getting the violent offenders to deciding they were going to do sweeps in Home Depot, that they're going to do sweeps in farms, that they're going to go after the hotel workers that President Trump had said, hey, let's stay away from initially hotel workers and people at farms. When did they make that change, and why did they make that change?
I think there were 2 points when they majorly ramped that up. One was very early. They started establishing quotas just in the first week of the Trump administration, when that first few days didn't bring the shock and awe that they expected. And so the then ICE director, who's now been ousted, said they needed to start arresting 1,200 immigrants per day, didn't specify the kind of immigrants, and they started pulling the investigators, the kind of people who actually would find known criminals, and they started pulling them off to do administrative ICE arrest. The second time, and this is what we're living in now, Joe, was in mid-May when Stephen Miller called the leaders of ICE to Washington and said, if you don't start arresting 3,000 a day, some of you are soon going to be fired. You're going to lose your jobs. And so that's what we're seeing now. That's what we're seeing in Los Angeles, and we're starting to see it in other cities across the country where there are these large sweeps telling them to go to Home Depot parking lots, going to places where they may encounter immigrants. We saw a landscaper arrested on his way to the job and tackled to the ground. ICE says in that case he was wielding a weed whacker. That's been debated. But in this case, what we're seeing is that it's much harder to arrest criminals. People who are really hiding from the law know how to do that.
Right.
It's a lot easier to go to a place where people are just going about their daily lives, taking their kids to school, going to work, and make large sweeps there. I've talked to some ICE agents who say they feel like they're now just being told to go fishing, essentially. But they say of all the fish they scoop up, it's hard to find those criminals, or even in some cases, those who can actually be deported. Many may still have pending asylum claims.
Can I ask you a question? And I suppose you've probably answered this a lot before, but it's a question that I have when I look at some of the videos of people being apprehended. I know it's a question that I hear people asking all the time. And it seems unusual. I haven't seen it before, not a lot in this country. Why is it that at these apprehensions, a lot of times you'll see unmarked cars coming up and people coming out with no markings at all? The images that we showed while you were talking did have ICE, police, law enforcement, and they were identified. But it seems horrifying to me, especially, I think it was the college student. I don't know if she was a Tufts grad student, but I think it was somebody in Boston. A young woman walking down the road, and suddenly these people with no markings, no ID, masks on, unmarked cars, scooping her up and throwing her in an unmarked car. I can tell you any parent would be horrified and would tell their child, if you have people wearing masks without any markings at all, run. I mean, that would be the natural thing for us to do in America. So what I want to understand is, why don't they identify themselves? Why don't they have markings on in some of these cases where they're identifying themselves as law enforcement officers so people know they need to do what they're told to do by law enforcement officers, instead of somebody wearing a T-shirt and a mask and an unmarked Buick?
Well, I talked to a former ICE official about that yesterday, Joe, and he said that the use of masks and trying to conceal their identity is unprecedented at the level he sees from ICE right now, that ICE should be going out. I even looked at a clip that we did a week ago, or this same week last year in Baltimore. We went out with ICE agents, no face coverings. They have ice across their chests, and the people that they were arresting were convicted of murder, one with a machete, really serious criminals. And in this case, they're going after people with no criminal convictions, completely masked. And this person I talked to said, well, of course you would run, because for all you know, you might be being kidnapped. What if there are vigilantes out there pretending to be ICE? And at the same time, ICE is saying, look, we have to take extra precautions because we have a 500% increase in assault on ICE officers. Now, we've asked for the raw data on that. We haven't gotten that. We don't know how they're coming to the 500% figure. But they do say that they're worried about doxing. They're worried, because it's so visible now. They're showing up.
Right.
But the fact is, so that says police right there. It doesn't say ICE at the front. Sometimes you have Customs and Border Protection doing this as well. But the fact is there's a lot of fear in these communities that the people who are showing up are not, in fact, ICE, and it's human nature to want to run from a man in plain clothes and a mask. And yes, you were referring to that video from the Tufts University student who was walking to break fast for Ramadan down the street. She was on the phone. 6 men in plain clothes came up and just took her into a car. It's human nature to try to resist that. And so I think that's going to be the next part of this conversation. Can ICE continue to justify these tactics, saying that it's in the best interest of ICE officers, when in fact part of the reason assaults are increasing, many say, is because of those tactics by themselves?
No, we certainly want law enforcement protected. We want to make sure that people abide by what law enforcement officers are telling them to do. But if somebody shows up in a black T-shirt or sweatshirt that's unmarked, with a mask on, and an unmarked Buick or Ford that they're throwing people into, it's going to cause people to run. NBC News senior Homeland Security correspondent Julia Ainsley, thank you as always. Greatly appreciate it.